All praise is due to Allah, who has united the hearts of the believers in Islam and has made it an obligation to remain united, and has made it forbidden to become separated in his clear book. I bear witness that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah, who guides to the straight path whom he wills, and I bear witness that our leader Muhammad is his messenger and the best caller to the way that is straight. O Allah, send your prayers and your peace upon our leader Muhammad and upon his family and upon his companions, whose hearts were united and whose souls were educated, so that they became victorious leaders. And what follows thereafter, O believers of Allah, I advise you as well as I advise myself, to first have the proper regard for Allah and thereafter be obedient to him. Dear believers, I greet you with the universal greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be with you. This week we are looking at the pillar of the religion, which is the Hajj, which is the pilgrimage that Muslims must make at least once in their life if they are able. And so for Muslims, Hajj is a time to seek forgiveness for one's sins, a time where we focus all our energy, all our physical capacity on the worship of our Creator. We are in a space, we are in a land, in an area where the Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, walked. We are doing the same movements that he did, in the same place that he did, in the same way that he did. And many of these aspects or elements of the Hajj are elements that either symbolize or were things that were done by someone in the space of the Prophet Ibrahim, the Prophet Abraham. Some of the specific things are commemorative of things that he did, and then there are others that are symbolic of what was done by Hagar, the mother of the Prophet Ishmael. And there are many other aspects to the Hajj, but this is the Muslims' opportunity or time to fully engage, to fully put all of their endeavors, all of their heart, all of their mind, all of their spirit into the thing that their Creator has commanded them to do. And we know that in the prayer of the Muslim, that we all face the Kaaba, that we all, whatever location we are, in America we face a little bit northeast. In different parts of the world they face in a different direction. But when the Muslims make prayer around the Kaaba, they form a circle, because it is right there. Because it is right there in front of them. And this is their opportunity to be at the house of Allah. And not meaning that this is where Allah walks around or this is where Allah lives. But this is the place in which the Prophet Ibrahim was commanded to build the Kaaba. This is the same place in which the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, had the men of the town who were arguing about who will be the one to replace the stone. And they said the next person who walks in will make the decision. And the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he told each man, these heads of these tribes, to grab a corner to lift up the stone, and he grabbed it and placed it himself in order to maintain the peace. But this is that same very location. And so this is a very special time for the Muslims. This is a very important time, and before one can even make it to that place, they have to set their intention. There are many who have the means. There are many who have the capacity physically, have the financial ability, have taken care of all of their other necessities, but maybe never make the intention. But then there are some who may have all the intention of the world, all the desire in their heart to make it to Mecca, to perform the Hajj, but they are financially unable. And so for many of them, the Hajj, this pilgrimage, this pillar of faith, is one that's just an inshallah, or if Allah wills. It's something that they only dream and hope of. And many who are strong and firm believing Muslims are unable to fulfill this pillar because of their financial situation or because of their health. And so sometimes people make Hajj for them. Sometimes people who have made Hajj previously go back and they make that Hajj for that person, for that parent, for that loved one, for that elder that's in the community that hasn't been able to make it. So the Hajj is very important for the Muslim. But sadly, sometimes either capability or decision is why Muslims aren't able to attend. But Allah tells us throughout the Quran, and Allah shows us throughout the life of the Prophet, peace be upon him, where there's the blessings in attending or making the Hajj or making this pilgrimage. And when we think about these concepts, we think about the concept of the term Iblis, which is known as Shaitan, and Iblis meaning to be far away. Meaning to be far away from what Allah wants, far away from the idea that the Creator wants for His creation, the behavior that the Creator wants for His creation. And we think about the Shaitan, Iblis, being far away from that. And then we think about the Muslim. We think about the Muslim who attends Hajj, who has traveled from a great distance, who have spent of their money, their hard-earned money, have taken of their time, have taken of their energy, and desired to become closer, and traveled great distances through all types of trouble. You know, now we have airlines and they have big cabins and air conditioning. But people used to travel by animal. They used to walk, and some still do. But they take all this effort to become close to their Creator, to make a journey to the place where their Creator commands them to go at the time that He commands them to be there, and to do the things that they are commanded to do. And so we see this opposing image to that Iblis nature of one who is far away, to that believer who becomes known as a Hajjah, or one who, and that's the female version, one who makes the Hajj, or Haji. So these are these two ideas, and for us as Muslims, us as believers, we have to think which nature do we want to possess? The one that seeks to be closer, the one that seeks to make this pilgrimage, this movement towards the Creator, or the one who remains far away. أقول هذا استغفر لي ولكم والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. So in the story of the life of the Prophet, peace be upon him, there is a story of a man named Abu Dujana. And Abu Dujana, he was one of the people who went to battle with the Prophet, peace be upon him. And there was this period where it was known that Muslims are supposed to be reserved, and they weren't supposed to be boastful, and they weren't supposed to be proud, not proud, but overbearing with their enthusiasm for themselves or for their capabilities or what it was that they were going to do. But Abu Dujana used to wear this red turban that he would put on, and when he put it on, he would strut around and he would show himself off, and he would make this big effort to show who he was, and this was all in the context of him preparing himself to go out and do what he was doing with the Prophet, but striving in the way of the Creator, striving in the way of Allah. And so the story goes that someone brought it up about how he was out there strutting. They told the Prophet how he was out there strutting around, but the Prophet, peace be upon him, said that because he was doing this for the cause of Allah, that he was showing this enthusiasm, that he was showing this not bravado but accentuating himself, because he was so in tune and so desirous to do these things for the cause of Allah, that it was okay for him, that this was the time, or this was the way that one should express that enthusiasm for their capabilities or for the things that they did or that they have done. And so we know that also in the Quran, or in the religion, there is this idea, or this thought that says that paradise lies at the foot of the mother. That the way you treat your mother, the way that you tend to your mother, the way that you take care of your mother, that is a path to paradise. So it's being mindful of how one carries oneself in regards to their mother, the one who carried them, the one who had the place where where the physical and spiritual meet within their body, where the soul is placed within the baby, and the baby is born from this small thing to something bigger, and this baby is to turn and show reverence to the womb that bore it. So it says that paradise lies at the foot of the mother. And so I put these two concepts together, not for the self-aggrandizement, but for the intention, for the spirit to go out and do the things that are pleasing to your Creator. Put a desire in the heart of the Muslim to go out and do things that are pleasing to the Creator, that inshallah, Allah willing, will lead you to paradise. It was a couple of years ago, maybe around 2017, and the opportunity had come up that, and I don't normally give personal stories, the opportunity had come up to where I was going to be able to attend or make the Hajj. And it just so worked out that I had enough to take one other person, so I decided I was going to take my mother on the Hajj with me. And as time went on, as the preparations were being made, other things came up. And then I had to utilize some of the funds for something, but I had to decide, do I attend Hajj or do I send my mother? And so I thought about it. I thought long and hard about it. And for me, my mother had been Muslim. My mother had been practicing for so many more years than I was alive, putting all her faith in the Creator, putting all her heart, all her desires, all her hope in the Creator. And she was beginning to reach an age where she wasn't going to be able to go on her own, or she might not have been able to have the capacity to attend on her own based on all the other circumstances that existed in her life. And so for me, I had to look at that idea. I had to look at that understanding of paradise lies at the foot of the mother. And I know how much mothers care for their children. I know how much mothers will speak out for their children. They'll do so much for their children. And so I told her, you go. And when you go, make dua for me. Make dua that someday that I will be able to attend the Hajj. And so my mother was able to attend. And it is still an intention of mine to attend. But this is not a pat on the back or a high five for me, but this is to put this idea, this thought in the mind of the believers that don't just be so selfish and don't only think of yourselves. It says paradise lies at the foot of the mother. So how are you taking care of your mother? How are you taking care of the one who gave you this opportunity or exposed you to the religion? But this is still about the Hajj. So my mother was able to make this physical closeness. She was able to make this physical closeness to the house of Allah, to perform this act of worship. And inshallah, my actions, my deeds, my intentions allowed me to be just a little bit closer. Allowed me to maybe have just a better chance, just a small bit of a better chance to achieve paradise. We don't want to be like the Iblis. We don't want to have this far away nature, far away from what our Creator desires for us. And so sometimes the best way for us, our hearts, to make this pilgrimage closer to the Creator is by doing something for others. Doing something that may be financially taxing on us, may be emotionally taxing on us, may still leave us with a debt. But we do it to benefit someone else. This may be what keeps us closer. So we thank Allah. We ask Allah to provide us with these opportunities that benefit us. To allow us to have the capacity to benefit others. And we ask that He gives us all the opportunity to make the Hajj, to make this pilgrimage, to become close to Him and fulfill our obligations, so that Hajj does not just remain a pillar of inshallah, where all we apply is if Allah wills to it. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا تقبل منا إنك السميع العليم إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له بذلك أمرت وأنا المسلمين الحمد لله رب العالمين آمين.